Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars, some of my favourite people, and some of the most delicious voices too. And we've got one for you today. Margaret Keys has been singing her entire life, and she has a brand new album out called The Gift of Music. It's delightful, as is she, and I'm delighted to say Margaret joins us on the phone now. How are you?
Hello, Alex. It's great to speak to you again. It's been a little while, but it's always great.
I keep my eye on you because you're one of those people who are constantly working, constantly doing gigs. It's a great life because not everybody has that, do they?
Oh, I'm very fortunate, Alex, I have to be honest. But it's people like yourself that, are constantly encouraging me to continue to do it because whilst I am busy, it's difficult, it's a hard life, but it's a great life. So it's a bit of both, really, but I'm so fortunate to be, as you say, consistently working because it's an industry where not everybody will always be working, but I've been so fortunate and people have been really, really supportive. So, let's hope it'll long may continue.
Only yesterday I was talking to somebody in musical theatre and saying, isn't it amazing that for 2.5 hours of your day you've got the glamour of the stage in these beautiful theatres, but of course the other 21.5 hours you've got to live a normal life. You're in dodgy dressing rooms, on planes, trains and automobiles. It is a difficult life, isn't it? And I guess for you it's mostly one-nighters and you've got to go to them, they're not coming to you.
Yeah, but for those 2.5 hours, it is worth every minute of that, honestly, because the feeling that you get, the buzz that you get, the reaction that you get from the people that are there, and it means a lot to them. But, a song that I might sing might just, inspire some young person to go and sing a song, or it might help someone who has maybe lost someone recently, or sometimes I'm singing a love song and I'll see like a couple in the front row and one of them might just take the other one's hand, and so the music has just this massive impact on people, and for me to be able to do that and to have that ability to do that, I can't complain. I'm just so blessed.
This new album is called The Gift of Music, and what a gift it is. I mean, you were blessed with a voice that you can't be trained. I know it can be managed and it can be perfected. I asked you this question before. I guess you can't remember a time when you weren't singing.
No, I suppose growing up in an Irish kind of a background and a family that everybody sort of, we weren't professional musicians, but we loved music. Music was a huge big part of our family, so music was around me all my life. Not in a pushy way, not in a, we weren't going to stage school or anything. It was more of a natural environment where music was just part of our everyday upbringing. And I think that has really helped me and to become more of a natural performer, and people maybe can relate to that a bit better,
Interestingly, this new album really does celebrate your voice in many different ways. There's several different types of music. Obviously, we've got the classical stuff, but then you'll stick in something like A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square, which is one of those beloved tunes that immediately takes us back. And one of my favourites ever, Carrickfergus, which I don't think has ever been sung better than this version. It is beautiful. You must be very proud. It's sort of the collection of your lifetime of songs, isn't it?
It is. I think when I was deciding on the album, it's never easy choosing songs because there's such a huge catalogue of songs that you can choose from. But I knew that I wanted this album to, as you say, show the different sides to my voice, the very classical side to my voice, the Irish side to my voice, and the more crossover side with the Billy Joel. I put that in there. And as well, I wanted it to go on a little journey as well from, my life story and how, different things have influenced me. I put in a song called The Old Man. My dad passed away 3 or 4 years ago, and so it tells the relationship with myself and him, and, how, I'll never forget him, because he's made me who I am, and and everybody can relate to that, or some people can relate to that who have lost a parent or have lost a father, and so it's a journey. It's taking the listener on a journey, not only on my voice and the different styles of my voice, but a journey with my life as well, and that was important to me.
What is your life like? Do you wake up in the morning, give it a little cough to see whether the voice is still there and immediately start singing, or are you pretty relaxed about it? Because you can become neurotic, can't you?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty chilled out. Although this week I have a big concert tomorrow night, and about 2 weeks ago I had a bit of a cough and a bit of a cold, and I never get sick. Alex, it's something that I don't do. I never get sick. But I think because I've been so busy, and the album release and one thing after another, I've just had, I think maybe I just got a little bit run down, so I've been taking vitamin C, and I've become the singer that I didn't want to be. I remember, people used to say, "Oh, you singers are divas," and I think, no, I'm fine. I'll take a little bit, drink of water, and go on the stage and sing, and that's how I've always wanted to be. But this week I've become a little bit precious, and I don't know if I like it. I think I prefer to be a little bit more chilled out. So once tomorrow night's over, I'm going to become a bit more chilled.
There is that reputation, isn't there? Like in the Phantom, the prima donna, first lady of the stage.
Yeah.
I guess you need a bit of that, because that's the class that makes you exceptional. But at the same time, you don't want to be a pain in the arse, do you?
Well, this is true. You can't become completely precocious and precious. You can't be that, because you become totally unlikable, and then people won't buy your albums or go to your concerts. So, but yeah, I do agree. I have to be careful, and I do have to warm up the voice, and I do have to, be careful what I eat at times as well. And the difficult thing for me, Alex, is not to talk, because I love talking. So that's kind of, sometimes I have to remember that I just need to be quiet for at least an hour in the day, and that might help.
I wonder about the people you've worked with as well. When we look at the Alfie Bowes, I was with Russell Watson on Sunday night. He's still doing big business around the country.
Yeah.
The Paul Potts, people like that, and the great orchestras you've sang with. It's been a blessed career. Let's go through some of the best moments. I guess Alfie's got to be one of those moments where you go, well, it doesn't get any bigger than him right now with Album of the Year. He's certainly found his stride, hasn't he?
Oh, he's brilliant. And I think it's a genius pairing of both him and Michael Ball at the moment. It's just whoever thought of that as a genius, because it's worked a treat. But Alfie is a lovely guy as well. And that's something that it's really important, when you're working with someone. You do need to kind of have a relationship, because it tells on stage. And when you're singing duets, if you're singing a love duet, you have to kind of like the person for it to be realistic, So, but he's a lovely guy. Russell's great. We had lots of fun. I did a good lot of the tour with him. And, they're just normal blokes at the end of the day. And I think that's what people kind of find hard to believe. They really are so normal and down to earth. And it's really refreshing for me, because it's it's not easy for a guest artist going in and he's the big star, but they've always made me feel very welcome, and I feel like, a friend, So.
Isn't it interesting, especially with classical music, that when you've come from such an ordinary background as Fleetwood with Alfie, or Salford with Russell, or even South Wales with Paul Potts, there's something more charming about that. And I think that's what you've got with the Irish thing. It's so relatable. We don't like pomposity in this country, do we?
No.
Going to the RSC and being all toffee-nosed ain't going to sell tickets.
No, it's definitely. Well, that's one thing you've got to remember. You've got to remember who you are. And I just happen to sing a few songs. That is what I do. There are people in the world that are saving lives, and there are people that are doing much more important things than what I'm doing. You've got to remember that,
Yeah.
Okay, what we do is important, but, it's not the best thing in the world, to be doing. There's people that are out there doing, as I say, massive things for the world. So you've got to remember that, and you've got to stay real and stay with the people that put you there in the first place. So, and that's important to me. That's always been important to me.
Having said that, when I hear a voice like yours, and it's so mellifluous, and it's so beautiful, and it's so perfect and powerful, it is still overwhelming, and it's so special. I wonder where you'd like to be. I mean, I know you've sang things like Phantom of the Opera or My Fair Lady. Do you have any ambition to go into a Les Miserables or a musical, or something which will give you a regular gig?
It's something that I would maybe consider, but it would really depend on, first of all, what the musical is, and secondly, the timing of it all. But I love the variety of what I'm doing at the moment. I think to do 8 shows a week every night for a year, I'm not sure I would really want that. I mean, it's something I thought I wanted when I was maybe just coming fresh out of college. But what I'm doing now, meeting different audiences, doing different gigs, different venues, meeting different people, working with different people, and the variety of it all makes it so much more exciting for me. And I think I'm learning so much from it. It's, whereas I think maybe you might become a little, stale if you're doing the same thing every night. So yeah, I mean, it's something I wouldn't rule out. But I'm loving what I'm doing at the moment.
One of my best friends has just gone into Les Mis as Jean Valjean in the West End, and I went to see his second night, and I thought, God, for the next year, you've got to do this 8 times a week. At the end of the show, the entire cast are dead, and they're the lucky ones. I mean, you've got to have some backbone to get through that, haven't you?
You do, because you have to remember, it's this could have been your 7th show, but this is this audience's first show, so you have to remember that, and that's the difficult thing. So you've got to make it like your first show every night, and I think it's a lot of pressure, you know. Whereas when we're moving around doing different venues, there's something new, there's a different team around you.
And there's an adrenaline that goes with that, isn't there?
Yeah, so I love that side of it, but it is a bit fresh. Something fresh every night, something different every night, you know. So in that side, I'm lucky, you know. So
what's your average week like? Do you basically pack a bag and just keep rotating in, out, leave it open, keep going to airports? I mean, you must know all the airport staff, all the train staff. It is a life on the road, isn't it, mostly?
It is, yeah. I mean, I kind of have two bags, one kind of already packed. It depends really where I am, but there's nothing better than coming home and not having to pack a bag and not having, you know, just having to have what I call a pajama day.
Yeah.
That to me is the best day. You know, I mean, it's lovely and it's great to do what I do, but I love family days and I love days I can just relax. But my life is hectic, particularly now with the album launch. But, you know, this is what I've chosen and this is something that I have to do, and I love it. I do love it.
How easy is that to form a private life or have a family life? It's very tricky, isn't it? Because you're more not there than you are there.
Yeah, I mean, this is people would say, and you do sacrifice a lot. I mean, I definitely have sacrificed a lot, but I think with things like Skype and WhatsApp and video calls and things like that now, it is easier. Things have got easier in that way, and people are, you know, flights are cheap now, so people can come visit you, and I can pop home for a day. So it's more doable than I think it used to be, and you know, you can keep connections now with you know, technology and things like that. So it's tough, but you know, it's just the life that we've all learned to accept is what I'm doing. So, and we work with it.
One of the gigs that is quite exciting coming up on the 15th of August is the show that you're doing an audience with Michael Crawford, which will be incredible. I mean, they don't get more legendary than that. He's an interesting guy. I interviewed him in Leeds because he's a patron of a charity up there. Again, what a life and career, and a true star.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm very fortunate to be, you know, let alone to meet Michael, but to be the guest of his show. It's surreal, really, but he just is. I mean, I remember growing up, and I think he was the Phantom of the Opera was probably one of the first albums I got, musical theatre albums I got, and you know, what a performer. You know, he wasn't a trained singer, but what you know, he was able to pull this big role off, and it wasn't easy. And he was beside Sarah Brightman, who was the biggest star in that day, you know, and that wasn't easy for him. But what a total legend, fantastic man, and a lovely, lovely man as well. Again, I keep coming back to that. When people are just nice in their normal everyday life too, it just makes them that little bit more special.
Do you get over the starstruck thing pretty quick now? Because you've got to sort of remember that you're an equal when you're standing on the stage with someone. They've complimented you by putting you next to them, and you've got to play your part. But still, these people are very famous, and we've grown up with them. I suppose we're about the same age. You know, Michael to us has two lives, doesn't he? That life on stage is the incredible Phantom, and then, of course, Frank Spencer on the other end of the spectrum.
I know. No, you never get used to it. I mean, you have to try and pretend that you do.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was signed for Pope Francis in America, you know, Andrea Bocelli was one side of me and Aretha Franklin was the other, and I know I performed as well, but I just had to kind of think, how did I get to this place? Sometimes it's surreal that you just kind of think this has not really happened, but then you have to take control and say, you know, you've got to remain professional, because you don't want them to think that you're some strange freak person that's, you know, that's obsessed by them. So you have to try and be very calm and, you know, be normal as you can, and then keep the excitement sort of more in the background. So that's important. But you never get used to it. Of course you don't. It's something that I'll always enjoy. It's a great part of it.
Yeah. Music is my biggest passion, and I love voices, but I don't necessarily understand technically the difference between a great voice and an amazing voice. Is Andrea Bocelli up there with the absolute best?
He is definitely. I mean, he's got a certain element of passion in his voice, and you know, he's probably insofar as the operatic greats, maybe he wouldn't have been in a massive operatic role, but insofar as concert-wise, yeah, he's got this wonderful sort of compassion in his voice, and his ability to put the song across without having to say anything really, because he doesn't talk too much to his audience.
No.
It's something that Andrea doesn't do. He's quite a mild and placid performer.
Yeah, a bit like Russell. He's a naughty tease off stage, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Russell is very different, actually, because Russell just talks the whole time.
Yes, he won't shut up.
He's very energetic, yeah. He's very energetic. And then you've someone like Bocelli, who stays in the one spot, doesn't really move much, and that's all he needs. And it creates just the same effect, you know. And so it just shows you how a voice alone can allow the audience to have that, you know, to have that relationship with that voice without him having to say a word. Whereas someone like Russell and Alfie, they're different performers. They perform beautifully, but they really interact. So it's funny how different performers work different ways, but it works for them, you know. So it's the voice alone, probably, for Bocelli that works.
We've covered the fact that you're incredibly successful and that you have a stunning voice, and now let's talk about the beauty. How much hard work is it to look like you? Because I know Russell and I were in the dressing room till about 7:10, and he was on at 7:30, and he had his dinner in between. Is it a whole process to get on stage? Because there is an added pressure, isn't there, when you're a female leading lady, that you've got to look stunning. That's part of the act.
Well, I do like to look well anyway, so it's not really that you're putting on a face for the stage. I try not to be something that I'm not everyday life, so I try to, you know, you might need to just put a bit of extra glitter or sparkle on, but...
You're telling me you're gorgeous. You know, that's what you're saying, Margaret, isn't it? That's
no,
what
I'm not, Alex. No.
Yes, you are.
Well, I mean, you can tell me that, but I can't say that. But, no, I mean, I just like to look, I like to present myself to the best that I can, and I think that's important when you're putting yourself out in the public eye, that you do. But at the same time, there's nothing I like better, as I said before, coming home, no makeup, hair back in a ponytail and pyjamas on and popcorn in front of the TV and just slouching. You know, that, to me, that's great. But you know, I probably wouldn't go on a stage. I definitely wouldn't go on a stage like that. So you have to present yourself. And I think the music that we're singing, it deserves you to look well, and it deserves you to kind of dress up for it, because the music that we're singing is, it's a beautiful, you know, some composer has sat and written, and it's got that kind of passion that we need to dress to fit the music, and I think that's important. And and it will add to the overall performance, because when someone sees a beautiful dress or your hair is done nicely, then, you know, they're automatically going to enjoy looking at you as well as listening to you. So if you've got the whole thing going on, then it's not necessary.
Oh, the fun we could have next week while I'm sat here in my mankini and you've got your hair slapped back watching Gogglebox. It could be marvellous, Margaret. Finally on the music.
Well, I'm up for that.
Yes, it'd save a lot of effort, wouldn't it? And just on the music, I wonder very finally when I listen to you sing something like La Vie en Rose, or even When You Believe, which is one of my favourite modern classics. I mean, it's a beautiful song. I think Andrea did it years ago. This beautiful, sensational song. Does any song intimidate you now, whether it's Caccini's Ave Maria or, as I say, La Vie en Rose? These are big songs where you can't hide. Are they exciting to you at this point, or do you go, here we go?
I think it's been a natural progression for me. I mean, I probably wouldn't have sung something like that about 8 or 9 years ago. So I think it's just trusting your voice and knowing where your voice can go. You will progress in everything that you do, and not even vocally, but in your confidence. And I think it's a confidence thing with me now, that because I've had all these experiences and I've been able to kind of prove myself at a bigger stage, then I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm going to give this song a shot and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I can just hide that and sing that in my bedroom and pretend that it never happened. But no, I love a challenge, and I do love to do something a bit new, a bit fresh. And I wanted this album, whilst not alienate the fans that I have, because they're crossover fans and they love all this kind of music, I wanted to have an album. For a start, there's 18 tracks in it. It's a huge album. But I wanted something that sort of gave them something a wee bit different, you know, and to cover songs that maybe wasn't necessarily done by any massive crossover star before, although things like Nella Fantasia, I didn't want to put that on because it's been done before. Right. So when I looked at Edith Piaf, I thought, let's do that, let's do something like that, because it's got the ability to be lushy in sound, and the orchestra would sound great in it. So I wanted to kind of bring in new things, and if I was afraid, then I would try and overcome that fear.
And if you want to cry at the end, listen to track 18, Danny Boy, probably the most beautiful song in history, sang perfectly by the gorgeous Margaret Keys. The new album is The Gift of Music, which is out now. So talented, so tremendous, and you're welcome anytime. Margaret, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. You're a pleasure as always.
Beautiful, thank you so much. That was lovely.